I just appreciate everybody
watch him throw the ball. We gon' pick it off. You gon' let him hit the hole or you gon' cut it off. You gon' play through fourth and long or you gon' punt it off. Your defenders, heavy hitters, put your pads in. Don't be looking for the ref to throw no flags in. Keep the helmet on, keep the cleats tight. You the type to want to win by any means, right? You should look alive. This is Trap or Die.
Sir. Yes, sir. What's going on, everybody? Welcome into another episode of the Trap or Die podcast, provided to you by 214 Media. Your boy coming in straight from a workout, man. How y'all feeling on this holiday? Let me go ahead and check these comments right quick. Oh, what's going on with you, player? AJ and Dre. Well, Dre is expected to be in. I'm assuming AJ is too. I was a little shoddy myself. I've been out of it today. I'm sitting here thinking, I don't know if I was gonna make the show. What's going on with you, Hawk? How everybody feeling? Administrative item. Like, subscribe on the YouTube side. Definitely appreciate it. Twitch side, if you're following, or if you haven't followed, make sure you hit that follow button. Twitter, appreciate you checking in. You are welcome to stay on that side. But if you want to be a part of the show, try to migrate on over to YouTube. Monty, I see what's going on with you, player. But yeah, I know why we here, man. It's not going to be too long of a show today. I'm not going to hold you. We're gonna get straight to business. Straight to business. Oh, I ain't even finished the administrative item. All 32 side of Trap or Die podcast coming out tonight, 8 p.m. For those who listen to the fellas, to the day ones, man. Everybody took an L this weekend. Everybody. So they had to get things off their chest. Tennessee got smoked. Ryan had to get things off his chest. Nick and Rick had a 30-minute sob story about why Dallas lost to the Jaguars. So yeah. All 32 side coming up right after the show, 8 p.m. Eastern. See, I want to see Chase. I want to see what AJ said to Chase to get him ready to play because he the plug. He is playing, man. That's what we starting off with. Hey, bro. So Chase Young has been such an emotional roller coaster. And not necessarily, truthfully, probably him too. Chase Young has probably been an emotional roller coaster from a personal standpoint, knowing what he's been through. He had one knee injury, but he had an operation on both knees. Let me go ahead and show what I mean by that. I think we all know, but Chase had the patella tendon injury and the torn ACL. Oh, Lord, I think I'm about to scroll up too far, but I'm about to double check. And then the doctor took us a graft from his knee, his other knee, to help you kind of fix the issue. So here's what was posted on Chase Young's Instagram story when it was announced today that he will play. Let's go ahead and show that right quick. Boom. So this is what we have with Chase Young, and what he posted earlier today on his Instagram story. But the story is right here with both his knees. And I think the thing is with Chase, and if I can find the quotes that I'll try to find them. But Chase was in a situation where he said that the story will come out eventually. Oh, it's right here. Duh. Chase would eventually reveal the extent of his injury and recovery. So I think what's also something that we didn't take into account. When I say we, I don't mean me literally, because I ain't really I have no place to speak on a man's injury. I don't have a place to speak on, how Chase Young is supposed to feel, how Chase Young is supposed to respond to a surgery that I've never experienced. Something to the extent that he has went through, I've never experienced. I've never even gotten close to it. I have a friend, Montel, who pops up on the Commander show from time to time. He had a knee injury playing football. And his was extensive. It wasn't just the ACL. He tore something else as well, and I think it was patella tendon. So like I have familiarity from an outside perspective, like witnessing what he went through, and understanding the athlete that he was, and how that changed his life. Like he still works out. He still kind of he still tries to stay in shape, but like he's not playing football no more. He's not even playing basketball no more. And keep in mind, obviously, we're talking about two different level athletes, right? But my point is, like, just because one person is a pro athlete and the other person isn't a pro athlete, the emotions and like the mental impact behind an injury does not change. Like, that's always the same. There may be even more pressure on Chase Young. Like, I have to bounce back. Like, I have to come back. They're paying me X amount of dollars. I am the face, or I'm viewed as the face of the franchise at number 2 overall. Like, I may have to kind of, do something more. But point is, like, from the emotional standpoint, like, that's a burden. Like, going through and what he went through, whatever it is that he went through, to the extent that he went through, that's a burden. So I say that to say, like, I was never in a space where I can criticize or comment on Chase Young's injury, but I did think when he spoke yesterday, I think when he spoke yesterday, Chase Young, it didn't sound like he was coming back. Like it didn't come across as an individual who was really itching to get back on the field. And I read it completely wrong. I read it completely wrong yesterday. And I'm glad that he's coming back. To be honest with you, here's why. I've changed my tune like over the course of the last couple of weeks. Like I got to a point where I expected him back, and then I was like, you know what? If he misses the Giants game, there's no need to keep him back. And then I thought about it even more after the Giants game. I said, hey, if he can come back and play this year, then he needs to do it. So I think that for everything that is involved in the complexity behind it, getting back on that field is important. And here's another reason why getting back on the field is important. I'll probably end up having this same conversation with Dre comes back or comes in, and or maybe even AJ. But here's another thing that needs to be taken into account. Let me catch up with some of the comments right quick, and then we'll circle back to this, even though I don't want to lose my thoughts. What's going on, KB? Appreciate you checking in. Hawk as well. All the trappers in the building, man. What's going on, Jay Tyler? Appreciate you checking in. Jay, appreciate you checking in. Hey, do we have 3 Jamals? I know Jay Tyler is a Jamal. Jay, is this a Jared? Is this a Jamal? Is this a Jason? I feel like this is a Jamal too. I think we talked about it. But Jay said Chase wasn't trying to come back and look like Logan did/does. I mean, to be honest with you, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like Chase Young ain't been on the field in a long time, so we got to keep that in mind. Like he may look like Logan. he may look like Logan right now. Then Alex Smith had the same injury, torn tendon. Yeah, compound. That joint was ugly too. I'm waiting to see how many people try to call Chase a bust if he doesn't get a sack Saturday. Look, they already calling him a bust. They're already calling him a bust. So sometimes from time to time, I run the Hogs Haven podcast. I say Hogs Haven podcast. I run the Hogs Haven Twitter account. I make tweets here and there, but I say that to say, like, I see a lot of comments, like when it comes to Chase Young articles and Chase Young news and updates. There's a lot of people out there who believe that Chase Young is a bust, and that they think Chase Young is a bust and that he needs to be traded. Like, that's where it's at. And it's not fair. It's not fair to Chase. It's not fair to the organization. And none of that, man. So there's people out there who are already in on, and then they think to the point of Chase Young being bad, that Chase Young can be traded for trying to get a quarterback. Like, if you think that Chase Young is bad, why would somebody take him? And why would somebody take him to the point where you can level up at the quarterback position, the most important position on your team? That makes no sense. Okay, so back to the last thing. We'll get to the Niners. Like I said, I appreciate everybody checking in. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. It's appreciated. if you're just checking in or if you are new. But about the Chase Young, Washington needs him. And here's why. Like, now stick with me, okay? Please, for the love of God, stick with me. Washington doesn't have a Chase Young on their team. That defensive line is playing good, and I think when people respond to like how a defensive line is playing, despite the fact like they're playing good, right? The defensive line is eating. They're the most dominant piece of this team, and that's important and that's really good. But I think people are so short-sighted because they see how good the defensive line is playing, and they think that because they're playing good, they don't need help. Like Chase Young is that explosive athlete. He is the person who gets to a quarterback in 2 seconds. That's why they drafted him. Washington doesn't have that on the edge. They don't. They don't have a pass rusher who can get to the quarterback, beating a edge rusher. Offensive tackle off the ball in 2 seconds. Sometimes going even untouched. Like they don't have that. Montez Sweat is a good pass rusher. But like he gets a lot of his pressures. Let me be clear. His quarterback hits, his sacks, they come off beating up on lower level offensive tackles, tight ends, or stunts. It's never necessarily a one-on-one that you consistently see him beat the tackle that is as good as him or better. And he's not consistently getting to the quarterback in those situations. Chase Young can beat a one-on-one. You need somebody that explosive. Kayvon Thibodeau, think about that Sunday night game. Washington doesn't have that on the edge right now. They don't have that. And I think that when people look at Chase Young and they think about, the value that he has to this defense, I think the people who are saying that Washington doesn't need a Chase Young is very short-sighted. I also think that Chase Young is in a good position to really see where he's at with 3 games left, at least 3 games left, to kind of test how he's feeling, how he's recovered, get small reps here and there, right? And keep it pushing. Like, see how he can build going into the next season. He's not going to come out the gate having 30, 40 snaps. He may have 20. He may have 15. Jack Del Rio wasn't clear on terms of what he's expecting for Chase. But at the same time, I wouldn't expect them to kind of like go ham his first day back. But it is timely because they're gonna need some help against the 49ers. He's gonna need some help against the 49ers. Let's go and get the good man Dre in here. Oops, boom. There we go. Oh Lord. All right, boom. There we go. What's going on with you, Dre? Hey, I like you. You at an Airbnb?
This one of them AJ backgrounds, man. You know what I'm saying? This is the joint Disco was rocking when he came up in here. AJ said he was in a senior citizen home. Man, Disco ain't recovered since.
Nah, he ain't been back on the show since either.
Yeah, he mentioned it to me. He hit me up. He was like, "Man, I'm gonna get AJ. I still gotta get him back."
Yeah, he better. Well, look. As long as he's been gone, he better have a joke ready in the chamber, man. I tell you that. Let's go ahead and catch up with some of the comments, and I'm gonna get to your thoughts on Chase, and we can go ahead to the Niners preview. All right. So where we at? He said that's the Commanders fans from Lynchburg. Oh Lord, I do. I catch your drift. They're everywhere though, but I catch your drift. He said the process for those things are all case by case. Not these scheduled to be back may achieve extraordinary success in a Washington uniform. They're going to compare Chase to Parsons. KV, this is the point. Excellent point, and that's my point. He is Washington's Joey Bosa. He is Washington's Nick Bosa. He is their TJ Watt. Like, that is what Chase Young is to this team. And for people to kind of cast him away and say, because this defensive line is playing good right now, we don't need him, that is fool's gold. I truly believe that. Okay, so let's go ahead and go through some more comments. But in the meantime, Dre, what's your thoughts on Chase Young? Obviously, understanding that he's cleared to go for Saturday. He will be playing in a really good spot, given that Washington found a way to lose against the New York Giants on Sunday.
Well, I mean, honestly, I don't know what to expect this week. I don't know if he's, ready to impact the game the way he thinks he should impact, or at least the way we expect him to impact as well. I mean, maybe this is just a filler out game, but either way, it's just good to see him back on the field. Honestly, I don't really have many expectations for him. I don't think it's too fair to put too many on him right now, but a lot of fans I know at some point expect the return on investment. And as you said, he is our Nick Bosa. He is our, Thibodeau. He's that guy for our franchise. He's supposed to be that guy. Like, we drafted him to be that guy. So, while we might have to temper our expectations for this year, going into next year, fans at some point are going to start expecting that game breaking type of player. So, maybe we see flashes of that Sunday. I'm not sure how much we see of him on Sunday, but it would be nice to start seeing something that trends upward to, Chase being the game breaking player that we expect him to be.
Yeah, man. It really is like that for me. I also I think that's an important thing that you mentioned as well that I should have mentioned. I don't have expectations. I don't think none of us should really have expectations coming out. But to whose point was that? Let me see who has said this. Oh, yeah, to the point of what Jay said, there's going to be people out there ready to harp on Chase first game back, when he doesn't come through and put pressure on the quarterback or get a sack. People who are really committed to really moving on from Chase Young is going to be out in full force his first day back. But expectations are important in terms of like understanding when they should be implemented and when you should be more observational in these moments. And I think this is more one where you just got to wait and see and see how he comes along on the field. Okay, so the pitch count. What's going on, Jason? Appreciate you checking in. It is almost game day for sure. Pitch count, we don't know. But if I had to give a guess, just for the sake of answering the question, I'm thinking he's probably getting no more than 15. They want to probably put him in some certain situations to see where he's at, maybe even get like 10 pass rush reps, and like 5 against the run because, or 5 in run situations because you don't necessarily know when they're running it, but 5 in run situations because you're probably going to put more stress on yourself trying to take on double teams or like defend the edge and stuff like that. So if I'm guessing, I'm spitballing here, but if I had to guess, it's probably going to be around 15. What do you think, Dre?
I'm with you. I was thinking around 15, 20. I mean, I'm kind of thinking of how they monitored Curtis Samuel last year. And Curtis Samuel last year, he was getting that 15, 20 pitch count whenever he did play. So I'm assuming that's how they're going to probably work Chase in. And like you said, you want to give him some of that work on the rundowns. You want to give him a little bit of work on the passing downs. What I'm going to be interested in is how much time will they give him with Trent Williams' side? How are they going to put him over on that side, let him line up with Trent, let him go, which I think they should let him do a couple of times. Obviously you want him to go against the right tackle as well, but you want him to get some work against Trent. That's when he might start trusting his leg a little bit more. If he can hold his own in a matchup with Trent, that's when Chase might can say, well, I really feel good about this D and I can start taking it to another level. So hopefully, he just get enough work, whether it's 15, 20 snaps, 30. You just want him to start getting a little bit more comfortable snap by snap.
Yes, sir. Okay, let's get into the game, man. What are your overall thoughts on the game? Like, where is your head at? How are you feeling? I may have some because I don't think I said this on the show yet. So you may be surprised. Some people watching. Uh-oh. Okay, all right.
I know where you
all right,
go.
Go.
you going in that 7? You going in that 7.5, ain't you?
Come on, man.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's kind of where I was leaning to. I was like, okay, this might be the perfect spot for a bounce back right here. So, I mean, I don't know if I'm expected win. I'm not expecting to win at all. I mean, especially after the deflating loss against the Giants, but more so, I'm expecting them to probably give a battle in this game that a lot of people probably aren't expecting them to give after the Giants' performance the last couple of games they played. So, I mean, I think they're going to play them tougher. They actually played Kyle and them tough a couple of years ago when they played them. They beat them over there. Well, what they played in Arizona, that wasn't in San Francisco.
Yep.
But the COVID year, they beat them over there, which is still tough to beat San Francisco on the West Coast. And Ron Rivera, you're not going to blow him out, which a lot of people probably are expecting in this game. Oh, he's going to go over there and get blown out. I don't think he's going to get blown out in December. I think the issue we have with Ron is the fact that he can't get over the hump when you need him to get over the hump. But I think he'll have the team ready at least to play this week. But again, I'm not expecting a win, but I'm just expecting him to play a lot tougher than a lot of people might expect.
What's going on, everybody in the chat? Let's go ahead and get y'all score predictions. Jason's already ahead of the curve. He's a Niners guy. But respectfully, I'm not going to sit here and act like the Niners aren't the better team either. So go ahead, do your thing, Jason. But let me get y'all score predictions. Let me get y'all keys to the game. It doesn't have to be all in one. Y'all could go ahead, shoot them off. Keys to the game. Who do you think wins? Why? What's going to be important? All those things. I need to hear y'all take as well. So Dre, like how I'm feeling about this game is it is like the 7.5 is staring me down. And I think what I like the reason why I'm in this space is understanding like how I saw this playing out, how I saw the season playing out altogether. Like my initial reaction, like because sometimes like as a gambler, you know what I appreciate so much about gambling, Dre, is like and you've been doing it for a long time too. So I feel comfortable saying this with you. Like people really have their moments where they bet like off pure emotion. And some people have their moments where they have like that semblance of like objectivity, like reasonable analysis and things like that. And like I realized not even a full day after I placed the bet Monday when the line started at like 7.5 for San Fran, I took San Fran. Like I was like, yeah. Seeing San Fran compete over the past few weeks and knowing how bad our offense is and knowing what I just saw on Sunday night, they gonna get smoked. It's about to be 35-10. And for everybody that's listening, everybody that's watching, it may very well still be like a two score loss. Who knows? Or maybe 2+ score loss. Who knows? However, the initial reaction when you're gambling sometimes can be the most emotional one. Like you still may battle here and there, but the initial reaction is the more emotional one. When you sit down and think about the situation that they're in, there are some things going in the favor of Washington. It all relies on the defense. And you have to ask yourself, how much do you trust your defense against this San Francisco 49ers team? Are they good enough to keep you in the game until the very end? Are they able to keep you in that one possession game until the very end? And that's the dilemma that we're facing. Chase Young is coming back. Whether or not he's like impactful in terms of a stat wise, he's still going to be a help. Like if he's a complete hindrance or like just playing like pure ass, I will be genuinely surprised. But Chase Young is coming back. Benjamin St. Juste is going to fill out that secondary because like it's literally that thin to the point where you had Danny Johnson out there, Percy Butler from time to time, and who was the other guy? I think Christian Holmes at one point. Yeah, obviously Christian Holmes at one point. He was having his issues. But Benjamin St. Juste coming back is going to solidify the secondary for what it's worth. Again, thin, but very top heavy. So like if you can use your top guys, Bobby, Kendall, and obviously Benjamin St. Juste as your three main cornerbacks and use your three safety looks interchangeably from that perspective, you're in good shape from a passing standpoint. Brock Purdy is a solid quarterback to this point in his NFL career, his very first NFL season. But at the same time, you know, he hasn't gone up against a team who can create as much pressure as Washington. He also hasn't gone up against a team who, with that pressure, is playing solid yet somewhat like it's not like a complex defense, but like a solid structure. And I think that's kind of like they're playing discipline on all three levels. That's what made them a top 10 defense this year, or creeped into the top 10 and now top 5 defense statistically. I think that Brock Purdy hasn't really seen something like that. So when you look at that 7.5 number, just understanding what Brock hasn't seen, ain't no way in hell he should ever at this point in his career. Ain't no way in hell I'm taking a San Francisco 49ers team that's led by Brock Purdy as a 7.5 point favorite. I can't do it. Like if just from a gambling standpoint, I can't do that. So I think I was wrong from an emotional standpoint saying that they was going to smoke the Commanders. I think it's something that we're clearly missing.
And that's what I'm looking at as well, because that's what I look at when I'm in the gambling world from a week to week basis in the NFL. You look at what's a reactionary line, and sometimes Vegas they'll throw those lines out there, to bait people. And a lot of people will look at this and be like, "Well, this looks good because Washington just blew a big game, and San Francisco's been dominating, folks. Looks like an easy money." And that's, like you said, that's the part where we as the casual fan or the normal fan, we're missing. Like, okay, something's missing. This doesn't smell right. And then that's when you sometimes want to go that other route. I mean, that's worked a lot of times, and that's how Vegas gets a lot of their money. So, but that's how I looked at the line as well, Jamal. But and I thought about it as well emotionally at first, and I said, well, I think they will keep this game competitive. I think it will be closer than I think. But I think at the end of the day, it's going to come down to which team makes the less mistakes or the least mistakes. And that's what happened in the Giants. That was the difference between the Giants and the Commanders, was the mistakes. And this offense right now is just showing that they can't be trusted in certain spots to take care of the ball. Well, Heineke or any quarterback, I mean, it doesn't matter at this point, in my opinion. I think this offense just shows that they'll turn it over in bad spots. And the issue is the defense, they were playing good for a stretch. And I mean, they still are playing good. But the fact of the matter is, are they forcing turnovers or not? That's usually the difference in is Washington winning or losing these games. So San Francisco's defense, I expect them to force just maybe one more turnover than us. And I think that's going to be the difference in the game.
Yeah, that's another part too. You mentioned turnovers. Washington produced none against the Giants. Like in a game where like you clearly, and I'm not faulting the Commanders defense, like you played 60 minutes, gave up less than 300 yards, allowed 13 points on your side of the football. So that's good. That's pretty good. But understanding where Washington is from the offensive side of the football, you really need a championship level defense, especially if they are a championship level defense, as some people view them. You really need that side of the ball to even do a little bit more. And that part is not fair to ask them like, hey, y'all need to do even more to help your team win. But at the end of the day, that's kind of what team football is all about. Like you gotta find a way. You gotta find a way to get your team over the hump, and especially if people view you as that championship level defense. Where are those playmakers at on that side of the football? Okay. Monty asked the question, man. What quarter does Carson come in? Dre, I'm not gonna lie to you. I think we said it Tuesday, but I think we even had more clarity. I may be missing something, or either way, I'll just get right into the question. Somebody else mentioned earlier, Jay Tyler did, right? We're gonna run the ball like 40 to 50 times. We're gonna harass Purdy. He said win. I didn't even see that part. I did see run the ball 40, 50 times. He said 23 to 20, Washington gets the dub. All right, so that's interesting. But to the question of Monty, and then understanding what Tyler said about running the football, Scott Turner mentioned yesterday, I believe, if not today, I don't remember when the coordinator spoke this week, but he mentioned that he acknowledged that he should have run the ball with B-Rob a little bit more. And he is like putting it lightly, but he's a damn fool because he knew he should have ran B-Rob more. And granted, I like looking at the film, I like what they did coming out of that second half. I liked what they did with their play action looks in that second half. It was effective, but it was also like based in their personnel package and how they lined up, like how they were able to really attack that Giants defense and send those shot plays downfield. But from a run game perspective, they need that run game. They need Brian Robinson to pop off yet again. I think that this offense has shown, and Brian Robinson has shown, like as the weeks moved along. Now, granted, the Niners defense is fast, and I'm not going to sit here and tell anybody that you should expect, and they're only giving like 3.4 yards per carry, which is first in the NFL. But when you think about what Washington does and understanding that for a long period of time during their win streak, they weren't averaging 5 yards a carry every game. It was around that 4 number. I mean, 4 yard number mark or 3.8, 3.7. Like those things were real. And for Washington, when you think about like that quarterback position and mitigating the effectiveness of what a quarterback can do to this offense, like given that Taylor is who he is and Carson is who he is, you got to try to keep the ball in the person who is really the baseline, the structure of your offense, and that's Brian Robinson. We're going to get to quarterback in a second, Monty, but it really does come to that run game, because then when you think about that offense, and you think about pass game, there's going to be several more issues, several more problems that you got to take into account.
And yeah, I know a lot of fans are pissed about this as well, because when Scott Turner did speak at his press conference, like you said, he acknowledged that he should have gave the ball to Brian Robinson more. Yeah, like no shit. But that's the issue. I think most of us have with Scott Turner is that I think he's a good play designer. As you said, Jamal, I think he can scheme guys open, but I worry about his feel for the game. He just doesn't seem like he feels the game very well or knows how to set up calls, or when to call what when. And that's just been his issue. And you see, that's why you don't see him put together like a whole consistent 4 quarters of a game where you can say, man, Scott masterfully called the game. You can maybe say Scott had a masterful series, but it's rarely a masterful game. And that's the issue. He gets away from that. So obviously this week against San Francisco, you have to go to what this team's identity is, and that's getting the ball to Brian Robinson. He's been the best player, pretty much on the offense the last few weeks, especially as it gets colder. Guys don't want to hit guys like Brian Robinson in the cold out there. Why is he getting the ball only 12 times in a game? So, it's tough to hear Scott, acknowledge that after the game. I mean, it's cool that he's acknowledging it, but it still is tough, because it's like you should feel that in game. That doesn't give me confidence in the next game in you, because it's like, are you going to go off the stable again? Like, it seems like he just, goes off track when he wants to go off track. And that's been the issue with the offense and the consistency. And, but this week against San Francisco, he's going to have to get consistent with getting the ball, at least in his playmakers' hands. Antonio Gibson needs more carries. Brian Robinson definitely needs more carries.
It said the games they lost, Niners got ran on. That'd be interesting. I gotta look at that. I know that the Chiefs just smoked their ass earlier in the season. Put up 44 on them. AJ, what's going on with you, player? So in the midst of previewing the Niners game, what stands out to you? What are some keys to the game for your side, and what makes this matchup essential, or what matchups are essential for the Commanders? If he can hear me. You good, bruh? This man over here fixed.
Does AJ know he's here?
Yeah, I can hear you, but my damn hat tripping, dog.
Man said I gotta fix my hat first. So look, man, Jamin is. I do think that Jamin's going to have an important game, but I don't think it's going to rely solely on Kittle. But to your point, I get what you're saying, but I don't think that's going to rely solely on Kittle. First off, it ain't going to be the coordinator is too smart to align or have intentionally have Jamin Davis on George Kittle. That's probably going to be a Cam Curl assignment, Bobby McCain assignment, maybe even Derek Forrest assignment. So it's going to be really on whatever zone matchups he has. And I think I've started to trust, as the weeks went along, I've started to trust Jamin Davis and how he's been able to play with his technique in zone. And whatever comes about this situation here, that'll be one thing. But I don't think that they're going, in their right mind, I don't think they're going to sit here and say, all right, Jamin, you got Kittle on this play. Saturday, January 7th. Okay. Where are we at? Offensively. Oh, so yeah, Carson Wentz, Taylor Heineke. I think for what it's worth, when Jay mentioned, or Monty, my bad, mentioned, what quarter is he coming in? If something happens, I really don't think that this is like a first quarter, second quarter type of deal. But it has to, it's possible. I don't think that it's going to happen, but it's not impossible. I think that Taylor would just have to get off to like a terrible start. Like if he goes like 0 for 7, 1 for 3 on third downs, or 1 for 4 or 0 for 4, a turnover. Like, you're talking about a quick replacement But if they're just not scoring points or they have like 3 points in the first quarter, I mean in the first half of the game, or maybe even getting shut out, then you're probably looking at that second half for Carson Wentz when he comes in. But ultimately speaking, just from an execution standpoint, man, I would love, fellas, I would like in order for Taylor to really in Washington to really get over the hump this week, you need to continue challenging defenses the way they did last week. The Giants is a different tier, right? So I'm not sitting here saying that the Niners are going to allow this to happen or that they're incapable of defending Washington. But I just think that for Taylor and understanding like the position that he's in, he has to go back to that. I ain't got nothing to lose mentality. Like that's kind of the position that he's in at this point. And if that means like taking those risks that he normally doesn't take because he doesn't want to lose his job, then that's one thing. Like the shots that he took last week, looking like I don't think trying to think like the two to De'Ami Brown or the one to De'Ami Brown, it wasn't a bad shot. It was a poor throw. The one to Jahan Dotson, 61 yards completion. He took a couple other shots, but like being aggressive in that manner to have the defense try to respect you in some capacity, like that's the only way you can really get San Fran off your back a little bit. And maybe you have to just go to quick game too. And like it may be one or the other, and we'll see if that offensive line can hold up. But that's kind of where I'm at the quarterback position, specifically Taylor, and what he needs to do in particular to keep this offense afloat against the Niners.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Like, I mean, Taylor has to play aggressive, and that's what we've been saying. Like, a lot of Taylor, and I didn't know if, you had also questioned it as well, is if someone had been in his ear, like, don't be as aggressive or, try to limit the recklessness because we need you out there. We don't have a backup. But now at this point, I mean, like you said, in the media at this point, Ron has put it out there pretty much. Your job's on the line, Taylor. Like, we are in crunch time. We need this. So he needs to play free. I mean, Taylor is limited. Like I said, we don't know what Taylor has, but he can come into a game usually at times and just say, have a fucking mentality. I mean, that's just the mentality he had. And that was something he did a couple of years ago when none of us knew who he was. He came in a game against Carolina for Dwayne Haskins, and he was just slinging it. Like, I mean, he just, he was trusting whatever he's seen. It was like, you know what, I'm just out here playing. I didn't even expect playing on a football field. He just had that mentality. Even in the Tampa Bay playoff game, he did the same thing. He just came out there and he just looked like every down was his last. But since he's been like named starter and entrenched as a starter, he plays like every down. I have to be real calculated because, I got a couple of more plays. So, he needs to get back to that urgency. This is for him. Now, to Monty's question, I personally don't see him getting benched in this game. I think Ron will let him play out the game. I think whatever happens in the game, Taylor does have another game where you come from it saying he didn't give us enough to win. I think they'll go to Wentz, but I just don't think they're going to go in game unless it just goes completely off the wagon.
AJ.
Yeah, I'm here. My bad. Yeah,
the hat, man. You still fucking with that hat?
I was trying to fix this audio stuff because I actually did get confirmation that my AirPods is fucked from the Apple store, and I'm not trying to buy another set of AirPods. But yeah, I mean, say that again.
I said just get beats by Drake, bro. Them Jones never let you down.
Man, the thing is, if I bought a new pair of AirPods, it would only help the receiver end, like as far as whoever I'm on the phone with. For me, that shit worked perfectly. But not to get sidetracked. Yeah, I think Taylor is who he is. Same thing with Carson Wentz. He is who he is. I don't expect anything differently from him, especially going against such an aggressive defense in the 49ers, and the fact that they use many type of looks. It's not like you're going into it saying, hey, these guys are going to blitz me on primarily most of the downs and play man. They play man, zone, all type of different coverages. Nick Bosa, you're definitely going to be watching for him and anticipating him coming off the edge, so you're already antsy. I think it's more so getting the running game started and sticking with it. I haven't heard the presser or read any of the transcripts, but I don't care for coaches telling me what they should have did after the game. Like at some point, someone has to hold you accountable. Like Ron Rivera even needs to step up and get on the earpiece and say to Scott, like, what are we doing here? Like, why aren't we running the ball a little bit more here? Like, why are we doing so many empty sets? I feel like I don't know what the record is. You guys probably know better than me because you gamble. But what's the record of teams from the East Coast traveling to the West Coast?
Oh damn, that's something I gotta do my research.
Yeah,
Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, but that's
know about
one
that
thing.
one.
That's one thing I think about, and they're not going there 2 days in advance. They're leaving tomorrow. So, I mean, it's just something to be cautious of. But I feel like if Taylor gets off to a slow start, expect Carson Wentz to come in.
The food is here, man. All right, so so Jay mentioned Gibson needs to have more catches, not more runs. Leno better be on his best behavior. Truthfully, first off, that's actually funny that you mentioned Leno because like Lucas is the guy who gets beat all the time. Leno has his moments, right? And obviously when you give up a strip sack, like that's all people think of, or that's that especially if that's the last thing that happened, like the last big play that happened. But Leno's a solid person in pass protection. You got to worry about Cornelius Lucas on the other side. He's the person who gets beat far more often than your left tackle. Okay, so I think we're good, man. Any last things? Any last things before we get to our prediction and MVP?
For me, I'm just gonna say I'm actually excited for the game this weekend. I mean, just simply December football, man. On the weekend, it's Christmas Eve. I mean, win or lose. I mean, I never expect them to
You an
win,
eggnog
really,
guy?
but I mean, yeah, I'm not a dairy guy too much.
Yeah,
Just
I
give me the
ain't know
bourbon.
if you was getting drunk off eggnog this weekend.
Nah. But you know what I do have? I have some corn liquor, some moonshine, some.
I don't know nothing about that, bro. That man's I got that cone liquor, bro.
Yes,
I don't know nothing
liquor. I
about
got
that, man.
cone liquor. But yeah, no.
Hey,
So
my man
I'm
said
excited for the
eggnog and
game,
run
man.
for the win. Excited?
Yeah,
I am
yeah,
interested to see how they bounce back, but I think I'm more so excited because, and again, we go back to gambling. I'm excited because I think I'm on the right side. And I think I'm on the right side, and I recognized it in the moment that I think I'm on the right side. And I want to see if this plays out the way
What side
exactly
is that?
I think that it's going to play out. I took Washington plus 7.5. So I got them covering the number. I don't necessarily think that they're going to win. And we'll get to our predictions now. But any last things on your side, AJ?
I mean, I think it's more so a matchup between Kyle Shanahan and Jack Del Rio. To be honest with you, I feel like Washington hasn't played an offense like this all season, and I'm curious to see how they handle the bootlegs. Curious to see how they handle the running game because it'll be stretch plays, it'll be toss. I'm just curious to see if they play disciplined football.
Yeah.
Like I feel like their defense hasn't been tested in that regard many times this season to have to play discipline and play within your gap integrity, to play your assignment, not to be out there freelancing. I just feel like Kyle is about to go crazy. It doesn't matter if it's Purdy or if it's Emmanuel Lewis back there at quarterback. Like he about to go crazy with these play calls, man. And Jack just doesn't adjust. So that's where it's just like, is he going to send more blitzes? Is he going to be more aggressive? Because if you're just going to rely on the front four to get there, it'll be intriguing. And now with Chase coming back, I expect him to be used like a situational pass rusher. It's just be an interesting game. But I guess we can go into the next topic where we talk about who's going to possibly win this game.
You brought up a good point though, man. Like the matchup, like the chess match between coordinators is important. Like I think that was like evident. How remember we were just kind of dissecting the offense on the other side last week, just understanding how Wink played Scott and how Scott was trying to adjust or failing to adjust to Wink on some occasions as well. So I think you brought up an excellent point, just understanding like that eye candy. Come on, Jay. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. We can't do that. Come on, bro. That man that came back and won he didn't won the division with 3 games left to go. And damn near made the Super Bowl last year, bro. Come on, man. But to AJ's point, I'll close. I will get to the predictions. Just that eye candy stuff that Scott Turner likes to get to. Kyle is a master at. It's gonna be important to see how disciplined that team is, man, on that side. So AJ is absolutely right. Fellas, score prediction. I'll start mine off since I had to do the Hogs Haven podcast earlier today, so mine's just fresh in my head. 21-17. I have San Fran winning. I don't know how. I said it on the show. I was like, don't ask me how Washington scored 17 points. I don't know. Maybe a defensive touchdown or maybe a special teams touchdown that helps them out on offense. Also, don't ask me how the Niners only scores 21 points. They just do. But I think that's going to be the final score, 21-17, something close to that extent. Maybe even a backdoor cover. I don't know. And then I think the MVP for those guys are probably going to be Nick Bosa. That offensive line I do not trust. And I think that Nick Bosa is in a prime position to have a day on the right side of the offensive line. And then Cornelius Lucas or Trey Turner. So that's kind of where I'm at, fellas. Who's next?
I'll go at it. I got 20-16 49ers win. Again, I just think it's going to come down to the team that makes the least turnovers, and I think 49ers are going to make the least turnovers in this game. I think it's probably going to come down to Nick Bosa, as you said, having a hell of a day. I don't think we've been able to block a premier pass rusher all year, even the ones that haven't even arrived yet, like Kayvon Thibodeau. He hadn't even arrived yet. He's supposed to be that guy, but he was that guy, and we made him that guy. So I can only imagine what Bosa's planning to do to us. I know his brother killed us last year with the Chargers, so I can only imagine how he'll do us. And yeah, just hope it ain't too bad. But I got us covering 20-16 49ers. Hope I'm wrong though, so I'll be watching, rooting, left hand up.
You gotta put that bitch down.
Be happy as I see AJ in 2 weeks, man.
Yeah, put that bitch down. But
oh yeah, they are trying to go for that 2 spot. Yeah, Jason, right?
So
I guess because you get 2 home games, right? Being a 2 seed, you guaranteed 2 home games, I believe.
I don't even know how this.
I would imagine. Anyway, yeah, continue. My bad.
Yeah, you should. But yeah, I think San Francisco just has too much firepower on both sides of the ball, even with the missing factor of Deebo Samuel at wide receiver. They still have Brandon Ayuk, who is pretty good. Ben is still up in the air as far as being able to play. I just don't know if Washington is going to be able to slow down Christian McCaffrey in the running game and passing game. I just think that he's too dangerous. And like I said, this defense hasn't really had to play locked-in type of defense in a while and face an offense of this nature that can literally do anything. If they become successful in the run game, you don't know what's coming next. It could be a bootleg. It could be play action. You just really don't know. So if they can do a good job at stopping the run, then I think it gives their defense a better job to compete. But overall, Washington can't fucking score points, man. And I don't expect that to start against, I don't know the ranking, but in my eyes, San Francisco has the number 1 defense in the NFL. They also have a relentless pass rusher in Nick Bosa that is going to eat Leno and Lucas up for like it's ridiculous. They're not going to be able to do anything. And then Scott Turner in return is going to try to keep in tight ends to help chip block and different things of that nature, which leaves you less likely to be able to move the ball in the passing game. Fred Warner is a lurking linebacker who plays great zone coverage. I predict that the 49ers score 31 and Washington scores 13.
Valid. Like I said, it's possible. It's definitely possible. Did you say MVP? My bad. I probably missed it.
Oh, MVP. I think MVP will go to 49ers defense overall. I think Fred Warner and Nick Bosa
make 10 sacks, plays. 5 turnovers.
Man, I don't know how many sacks they're going to get, but I definitely feel like they're going to be reading Taylor Heineke and getting these picks and capitalizing on these balls that, have not been interceptions. A lot of the, not even a lot, but even that Giants game, he threw an interception in the end zone that got dropped by number 44. Like, yeah, it's just they're going to capitalize off of the mistakes that Taylor Heineke makes. But, I guess the one last thing I will say is Carson Wentz, you will be seeing him in San Francisco, in Santa Clara playing.
Uh-oh. Okay. All right, we're going to see. We are going to see. Fellas, what's the plans for Christmas, man? Y'all out of town or y'all staying home?
Hey, I'm like Q from Juice. I'm a local boy, man. Y'all all over. I'm just a local boy. You know what I'm saying? I'm home, man. PG County, baby.
Look, I respect it, man. I respect it. Schedule wise, fellas. I asked also because I'm going out of town. So I don't know. The people that I'm about to be with, they ain't really that big on football. So I gotta try. I gotta act like this is like the most important thing in my life, and hope that they give us some time. But we'll try to schedule out some post game thing down the line. If not, maybe just come back on Tuesday, regular schedule. But we'll keep in touch. For everybody in the chat, we're shooting for the Washington Morning Show tomorrow morning, but nothing guaranteed. Fellas, y'all be safe, man. Enjoy y'all weekend. Enjoy the games, man. Enjoy the holiday. You know what I'm saying? Get drunk for your boy, Dre. Make sure you have the tallest glass of what you call it, corn liquor. Fill it to the brim, and then text us a sentence so we can see, like, on a scale of 1 to 10, if we can guess how drunk you are. Just text us a sentence, and we're gonna play.
If it ain't coherent, that means I didn't let you down.
All right, sounds good, man. Hey, y'all boys take care. Everybody in the chat, man, y'all take care. Enjoy y'all evening. Enjoy y'all weekend, man. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Man.